Thanks, John. Well, good morning. My name is Oscar Robles. I'm the Executive Director of LACNIC. And today our talk is going to be around these three topics. So let me jump into the presentation already. As you can see, we have had a strong growth in the membership numbers, steady, mainly driven by the smaller allocations, the micro small and the small allocations, the pink one and the purple. And additionally, last year we created a smaller category than those, which is the nano, which is started to appear in these graphics. Let me see. No, it doesn't work. Well, yeah, those are the numbers. As you can see, it's a very steady growth, more than 1,000 new members every 10 to 11 months. As I was mentioning to you, last year, the General Assembly of LACNIC, the membership, approved the creation of new categories. The nano, which is for smaller than /22, blocks smaller than /22, which is 24 and 23. And we differentiated the bigger categories, bigger than extra large, from 2XL, 3XL, until 6XL, or 6X large. Also, the General Assembly approved the decrease on the fees for ASN allocations to nano and micro small categories. That was in order to facilitate the ISP, the smaller ISPs inclusion. As everybody may be aware, a year ago we started the phase number 3 on the soft landing policy, the IPv4 depletion. And we expected to have this phase number 3 for 5 years. But now that we've been 1 year with this phase, the expectation is now that to last only 2 more years, which is a reduction of 2 out of the 5 initial expectation. And as you may know, this phase is, we allocate the space only to those organizations that have not received any previous allocation from LACNIC, of IPv4, of course. A few years ago, 2 years ago, LACNIC policy process approved the transfers besides the merchant acquisitions transfers. So there are internal transfers already, and only intra-RIR. And we have had only 15 transfers, 15 transfers in these 2 years. These are all the transfers we have had in these 24 months. And last month we just announced a service, a listing service for transfers, where we list not only those offering space, those requesting space, and the brokers or marketplaces for IP transfers. In a few hours of publishing that service, we received more than 40 requests to be listed as recipients of space, and only 2 for IP brokers and marketplaces. So if you are interested to be part of these listing services, just let us know. What else? Yeah. So also as a part of our corporative procedures, every year we remove part of our board, and last year 2 positions were to be for election. There were 13 candidates from 10 different countries, and the voting process in October resulted in Gabriel Adonaylo re-election and Rosalía Morales elected by the first time. Actually, Gabriel Adonaylo is around here with us. Just raise your hand. They will be, their term will be 3 more years in the LACNIC board. So, as part of our commitment to a secure, stable, and open internet, a couple of topics. First, as Paul was mentioning in the NRO update, we were working with the other RIRs to the deployment of the 0/0 in the RPKI route. And the relevant part, or the thing that I want to highlight here, is the collaboration and the coordination between the technical teams in the 5 RIRs. Also, in the DNS security and stability, we have worked with root servers, with root server operators for the deployment of global nodes in our region. The K instance and the I root instance were deployed in the recent months. So the thing is that we are not root server operator, but the root server operators recognize LACNIC as a relevant partner to identify relevant networks and organizations willing to have their own node in their facilities or their network. So we've been doing this for a while now. Then talking about the IPv6 readiness, taking information from RIPE website, almost 40% of the LACNIC networks are able to transit IPv6 traffic. As you can see, this is higher than the average in the world. And we note that not everything is readiness, but also content. And speaking about content, Uruguay has grown tremendously in the last months, up to 30% of the traffic, mainly driven by the incumbent, the main operator, which is Antel. They introduced IPv6 in the broadband and the residential broadband. So they have jumped into the top place of the region with that 29, almost 30% of traffic, IPv6 traffic in their country, in Uruguay. Then Brazil maintains a steady deployment with around 25%, and the good part here in Brazil is that it is driven by many players, not a single operator, but many regional and smaller sized ISPs, which are more tempted to do innovation and new things. Trinidad and Tobago and Ecuador maintains a 20% of IPv6. Peru used to be an early adopter, then they stalled at around 15%. And the good part now is that they started to grow again, but they fixed something that they had in their implementation that prevented others to actually see them through IPv6. And now it's a cleaner implementation, it appears. Argentina, Bolivia, Guatemala, Mexico, they're starting to deploy IPv6 now with the good numbers. Most of our efforts are intended to build capacity in IPv6, of course, and as you can see, more than 50% of our trainees last year in online training and webinars and in person, more than 50% of them were IPv6 courses and trained. 2018, we've been trained already 500 professionals, and we already have online course, a continuous online course on IPv6 basics. So we expect to grow this number of people trained by a 20% at least for the 2018. And we recognize that not everything is technical training, but we tried a different approach, an additional approach last year, and we will see in a few years whether or not we were successful. In Guyana and Suriname, we picked these two countries because we thought that the traditional larger countries will have their IPv6 deployed sooner or later. You can see Chile has a flat line with the 0% of IPv6 deployment, but we think that they will end up having a IPv6 deployment sooner or later. But we are allocating efforts to those countries that will be facing good challenges in the next 5 years. So we pick Guyana and Suriname, and we approach authorities there and decision makers, not technical guys. Well, it happened that those in charge of those organizations used to be engineers or have a technical background, but the thing is that they are not there for the technical knowledge, but for the as a decision makers, either the executive director, the CFO. We talk with the Ministry of Telecommunications in Guyana, for example, Catherine Hughes. In Suriname, we talk with the operators and the parliament as well, talking about IPv6 risks, IPv6 opportunities. As you may know, that area of Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana is a very rich area with oil, and there have been a lot of discoveries of oil, and there's an increase of activity and commercial activity. So there is a lot of services growing, and a lot of demand for internet access and security and security cameras. So it's starting to have an interesting economics in the region. So IPv6 is one of the things that may help them to address all the requirements for access of the people in the region. So we approached them, and it's been only 10 months since we attend these countries, and we are trying something else something similar in Central America, and we will report after that, after a while, after a follow-up, whether or not this was successful. So then going back to other initiatives, you probably know FRIDA, which is a regional fund for digital innovation. We have two topics for this 2018 announced, and one is community networks, and the other one is gender and technology. We have had a lot of proposals sent to our to this fund. Last year, 2016, we received more than 500 applications, and last year there were more than 300. Additionally, we have a couple of initiatives supported by other organizations. One, is called IETIC, that is funded by IDRC, and it aims to increase women's access to digital employment and capacity building on internet skills in IT, and it is fully funded by IDRC. Another, but a smaller project is with Google to develop workshops related to IXPs in the Caribbean and Central America. Then, talking about policy proposals, as you can see, there's been interesting growth in a number of policies proposed in our public forum. It's been a continuous growth since 2014. And this is a very good news, and we are now trying to see that discussions are really happening, not only quantity, but we would like to have also quality of discussions in the region. But that depends mostly on the community, and that will be up to them whether to adjust or adapt the policy development process in the region. Additionally to the two main events of LACNIC, we have the smaller events, mainly in those places that will be unable to host a bigger event. And we organize these smaller events jointly with local organizations, or even with the traditional partners in the region, which is Internet Society and ICANN, but also with the local partners. For example, in Guatemala, we organize it with .gt, Guatemala CCTLD, and we call it those events LACNIC on the Move, with the authorities, the local chapter of Internet Society, the regional Internet Society liaisons and ICANN. Guyana, same thing with the Ministry of Telecommunications, CARIFNOG, and other organizations, Internet Society, ICANN, and CTU. And this year, 2018, we will be organizing at least two more LACNIC on the Moves, one in Paraguay. Is already defined for June 5th to 7th, together with CNC, which is its academy, Copaco, which is the operator, and IXP Paraguay. And the other one is in Nicaragua to be confirmed and define the exact dates later on. And finally, last but not least, in 2 weeks we will be having our 29th event in Panama City. And I'm realizing that this is not the updated presentation, because the updated one has the link with the remote participation that I included in the last one. I will share, probably if Arin helps me to upload the newest version, you will see in this slide the link for the remote participation. Those willing to see what is happening with the global policy related to the global RIR, or with the ASO consultation, if you are interested to follow up our regional discussion as well, it will be webcast as well. And the other event in the second part of the year will be in Rosario, Argentina. Rosario is the third largest city in Argentina. Now is mainly known because it's the birthplace of Lionel Messi, the best player in the world. So if he wins the World Cup, then it will be a nice place to visit. So this is my update. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Microphones are open. Any questions for Oscar?
One remote comment. Hi. Brian Jones says, good to see the kind of growth in the deployment of IPv6.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar.